Here we go. This is what the people been wanting. Whether you like me, whether you dislike me, there's a chance you're probably watching this video and you're wondering, I wonder what Priox is going to say in this one. I wonder how negative Priox is going to be. Don't worry, bro. I'm going to tell you how I felt about the beta, and it's going to be my opinion. Okay? And I'm going to break it down from the striking to the clinch into the ground game. Now, TikTok, I'm going to break this all up in multiple videos, but YouTube, all this is going to be one. Okay? So, first things first, I want to read off the things that were not in the UFC 5 beta, but they will be in the game on release, right? So that's on the 24th of October. Number one, and all these things were in the deep dive. Stamina and vulnerability changes. Footwork changes. Ground stamina changes. And then some submission entries are missing from the beta, and that the movesets assigned to fighters for these submissions are not final. Knee and elbow nerfs and jab nerfs. So all these things that was talked about in the deep dive were not in the beta. Yet the beta was so different, and everyone was like, I ain't gonna say everyone, but there was some people that was really enjoying it and speaking like the beta was just so much different from UFC 4. These things that they're talking about can make an impact on the game, but as far as it feeling different, in my opinion, UFC 5 beta wasn't just different, it just felt more responsive. Now, there are some animation changes that I've noticed, big animation changes. The front kick was changed, the flying knee was changed, the elbow was changed. But the front kick, in my honest opinion, everyone has that same animation now. I know for a fact, Izzy has it, and some other guys have it. The flying knee, I think it's about the same. Everyone has that same animation. Now, I know it's just a flying knee. Some people throw it differently, but let's face the facts. Israel Adesanya throwing a flying knee is going to be different from somebody like, let's say, Jack Hermanson throwing a flying knee. It's going to be a little bit sloppy. But that's nitpicking, right? So I want to talk about the striking first. And I'm going to break this down. The striking, in my honest opinion, as far as ranges, didn't change. The damage is what stuck out the most to me when it came to striking, because a lot of damage was being dealt. You could do some really good damage in UFC 5 beta, and I liked it. I really did like it. Now, what I didn't like about it was still hard to flash KO people even when I had them hurting and on death's door. Still got a lot of rocks, still got a lot of knockdowns. Leg kicks, they are, I ain't gonna say they're effective. Damage wise, they're good, but the effectiveness that on leg kicks, as far as the visuals and seeing a fighter, maybe slow down, maybe change the animation, it is non-existent. It's still the same thing. Now, I don't even believe I got one leg kick TKO, and I was chopping people down like trees. But it is what it is, right? So, some other aspects of striking was the footwork. Now, again, there was the footwork changes that are supposed to be in the game at launch was not in the beta. So the footwork was just like UFC 4, right? If I'm wrong, please correct me. Okay, so let's move on to the clinch. Wait, before I move on to the clinch, I want to talk about the block breaking. The block breaking was worse in the beta of UFC 5 than it was in UFC 4. Because that damage thing that they have where, like if you have a cut, it's hard to block that side. I'm not sure if it was in the game, but it seemed like it was. But remember, block breaking is supposed to get a nerf with the jab, right? So cool. But let's talk about the clinch. Oh, the clinch is terrible. It's exactly like UFC 4. I mean, they already explained that themselves. EA explained that the clinch wasn't changed. Now, if you can find me a single soul that likes the clinch in UFC 4, I'll shut up. The clinch is terrible. It lowers the skill gap in the game. It takes away the aspect of really holding somebody on the cage, because the cage position is literally the same of UFC 4. You know, the thing where you would be able to hit them with an uppercut as they break the clinch is still a thing. And the clinch is just heavily favored for the offensive guy, or the guy that initiates the clinch. Either that, or it's still that racing game trying to get to the Muay Thai clinch. It's, in my opinion, the clinch is a dud. And from my understanding, the clinch was supposed to be a bit more flourished in UFC 4, but due to the lead gameplay developer Jeff leaving EA mid-development, it kind of hurt the production when it came to the clinch, the new clinch system. Now, they had 3 years to do something to it, pick up where it was left off at, and nothing was changed from the clinch. Now, if something was changed, it was very small, not noticeable. In my 100 plus matches, I didn't notice one difference from the clinch. The cage clinch is still a thing. I'm pretty sure the exploits where people can throw the free hooks off the cage is still going to be a thing, because it's literally the same thing, just on a updated engine. Okay, so let's go to the ground game. Now, overall, the ground game is still the same. They changed the HUD of how the transitions go, but I mean, it's still the same, like, concept. This transition, left, right, up, and down, is transitions. You deny transitions, you get the grapple advantage. And the ground game, in my honest opinion, when it comes to what the meta of the ground game is going to be, I don't think it's changed much from the foundation of UFC 4. Now, the submission system did change, but as far as I know, when it comes to ground transitions, they're still the same denials. The ground transitions, you know, they're still the same speed. The ground transitions, you know, it's going to be like a waiting game on the ground, trying to wait for transitions. Want to know why? Because one of the biggest things that is holding UFC 5 or 4 back was the thing called negative grapple advantage. And if you don't know what it is, I will gladly explain it to you. Basically, negative grapple advantage is when your opponent has a lot of grapple advantage, or no matter how much grapple advantage they have, you basically, your transitions are slowed down. Not only are their transitions faster, but yours is also slowed down, meaning that it makes it easier for them to deny your transition. That's why when you get put in side control and they deny transition, then they start pinging elbows off your melon, and you try to transition again and they deny it real easy, because you have negative grapple advantage, meaning that your bar goes up even slower from before, which makes it even easier for them to deny your transition and continue pinging elbows off your melon. Now, here's the problem that's going to be in that situation right here. Is the game's more responsive, so it's going to be easier to deny transitions. The ground game changes when it comes to stamina is going to come into place. And add on the top of that doctor stoppages. You're going to be able to get really bad cuts on the ground. So you're going to get put on the ground and get it put in a position like side control, which in my honest opinion isn't a dominant position in real life. Like, people get side control, yeah, but people aren't getting off the damage in side control like they get in UFC 4. And they're going to ping elbows off your melon in side control, bro. It's going to be bad for you. Terrible. Now, the ground and pound is the exact same as UFC 4 with added things. Now, you can say that animations have changed, but the concept hasn't changed. Every strike is the same, besides the new elbow that they added. I said elbow, not elbows, because when you're postured up, like UFC 3, you could throw multiple elbows, you could throw hammer fist. You cannot do that. You can only throw one elbow when postured up, and after you throw the elbow, it automatically makes you posture down. Now, when I said that it got the same concept, basically you can throw straight strikes or round strikes. It's the same thing, like UFC 4. Now, if you're the defensive guy, my problem is it kind of still feels like a guessing game, especially when you get knocked down and you're in that basically trying to survive state, and they got it the position where it's knee on belly. That ground and pound animation is it's still like the death animation, in my opinion. The worst animation to be in when you're in ground and pound is that one right there. And then you got fighters that don't have great ground and pound, and they're posturing up and going crazy with the strikes, doing really good damage. I don't think that should be a thing. Now, the submission system, I am actually a really big fan of the submission system. Now, I can see in the near future when the game releases that people are going to find some way to exploit it. It's always a loophole with these people, and they always find a problem. I hope they don't, because I really like the submission system. I like the art of it. I like the concept of it. I like the skill gap of it. And it isn't just a simple mini game. So I'm a fan of the submission system, guys. Now, I will be getting more in depth with the submission system when the game releases. That way, you know, you guys will be on top as far as tutorials and stuff like that. But all in all, the beta wasn't a really big jump from UFC 4 to UFC 5 for me. Like, I didn't hop on UFC 4 and feel like I was playing like, oh man, this feels so much different than UFC 5. It felt like the same thing as far as me understanding ranges, using footwork, grappling. Now, one thing did change, and that was the inputs on your controller. So I'm going to explain those really quickly before we get out of here. So basically, in order to throw a overhand now, you have to hold down left bumper, or L1, right? This one right here. And you would have to hold the lead hand punch button or the rear hand punch button, right? That would throw overhands. Now, if you wanted to throw uppercuts, you now have to hold R1 or right bumper and hit a punch button, and it will throw an uppercut. If you wanted to do spinning attacks, which is probably the biggest change with controls, is instead of you know, holding down right trigger and hitting a button, it would be you would hit X and circle if you're in orthodox, basically the rear uppercut. Well, no, that's not rear uppercut. Basically, X and circle together, or on Xbox that would be A and B if you're in orthodox stance, right? And you would spin, and then after you do the spin animation, you would hit like a square, or or X, and you would basically do a spinning elbow. Or if you hit Y, you would do a spinning back fist if you're in orthodox. Or you could hold down left bumper, and you could throw like the 360 tornado kicks or a spinning wheel kick, stuff like that. Or to the body would be the modifier with the right bumper. Now, personally, I was a really big fan of this, because controls isn't something that's hard for me to get down. I know some people are not gonna like it because of the controls, but for the most part, bro, I was completely content and fine with the controls on the game. I'm actually a fan of the controls, honestly. I hope they don't change. I know people are gonna want to add like this legacy control and stuff like that, but personally, I think people should just try to get used to it. It's just something new. That's all. It's just something new they're not used to doing when it comes to the spinning attacks and stuff like that. It's just muscle memory. I mean, this is coming from me. I literally learned how to use a hitbox in a month. Not the best, but I learned the concept of using a hitbox. If you don't know what that is, that's this thing right here. Basically, in fighting games, these is how I move, and these are like punches and kicks. But that's neither here nor there. But I just wanted to get that out to you guys, my review. All in all, the beta and UFC 4 aren't much different from each other. I would love to know you guys' experience when it came to the two. And again, I want to say this. Don't confuse fun with good or new. UFC 5 is new, and it's fun. Like, I can say I had a good time playing it, respectfully. But I also can say that much hasn't changed, and it's fun because it's just a new game. What do you guys think? What is your honest opinions? I would love to hear it. Put it in the comments section, and I'll be sure to read it out if I got time, because today's probably gonna be a busy day. I'm gonna be asleep. I gotta go to my daughter's game. She's a cheerleader, so yeah, stuff like that. But I'm gonna try to read you guys' comments as best as I can whenever I got the time, and respond and all that good stuff. But I'm out. Y'all stay up, stay blessed, keep moving forward, and I'm gonna catch y'all in the next one. All right. See you.